Morning, Carlos.
Morning.
Can we just start with your team news, please? And let's start firstly with Matty Pearson, who was set to start the other night and then obviously didn't take to the field. Can you tell us how he is?
Like I say, after the game, he will feel a little bit dizzy before to play the game. He was ready to be a starting player, but in the warming up, he was feeling that he couldn't manage how he feel at that moment to play the game. And then the decision was that he was asking for the change and he couldn't be in the team the other day. After this, yesterday he went to the doctor. The day after the game, he wasn't here. He was recovering. Yesterday he went to the doctor to make a good scan. Everything is fine, and we are going to test him today to see if he can be available or not.
So is that just an illness? Does it just sound like some form of illness? Is it
more than illness? Is like we don't know the reason why he feel dizzy a little bit. Maybe it can be because he's something that maybe didn't manage well his body, or maybe sometimes I cannot tell you the right English word, but maybe the canal on the in the ear maybe was blocked, and that's why he was losing a little bit, or he had a little bit that feeling. But at the end, the conclusion is that he couldn't play, and he's going to test today. We are going to test him today to know if he's available or not.
Okay, what about Danny Ward? Came off at half time. What was the issue with him?
Yes, he was feeling strength himself. He was having some palpitation in the heart at that moment, but he had a scan and everything is fine. And he's another player that we are going to check today in the training if he can be available or not.
That must have been a bit concerning. Palpitation's never nice for anybody, never mind a professional footballer.
Yeah, but sometimes, of course, that's why we were directly, when he didn't feel well, decided to change. He went to the hospital to check everything, to make all the necessary scan and everything that the doctors understand. But sometimes maybe to drink more caffeine than the normal caffeine can create this in the body when you have this. Because now maybe football with the fans is different. Sometimes maybe you can, or you needed to drink 4 coffees and drink some caffeine to be excited before the game. And now with the fans, you just need half coffee to be excited with the game. So sometimes this can create consequences in the body. And we hope that is only the reason in the back of this bad feeling that he had in the rest time.
Yeah, I think we've all been overexcited with the fans been back in, haven't we? What about Ruffles and Toffolo? How are they?
Toffolo training 2 days ago, the day after the game, and yesterday he was doing a specific plan and he's going to be ready to train today. We'll see today how he feels, but it's one option, clear option that we have in the team, or to be in the first 11 or to be in the squad. Ruffles, like I said before, is not in the same process. He needs more time because he was suffering more the consequence of COVID. So Ruffles is not going to be available because he didn't train yet with Europe.
And apart from him then, COVID-wise, are you all clear now? Is everybody okay again? Are tests all negative? Everyone's happy again?
Yes, so far, yes. I hope we can continue in the same way.
Excellent. Can you give us your revised view of the game then? A couple of days on, you'll have watched it back, I'm sure. What did you make to the performance of your side?
I think in some moments of the season, it's going to be very important to compete well, sometimes even more than play well. Sometimes trying to play well, you don't compete well. And sometimes because you try to compete well, you don't play well. For me, at the end of one season, you need to find the balance between both things. Put the competitive level in the highest point that you can and put your performance level in the highest point that you can. But it's true that we were playing just 2 days before of the Preston game against Fulham. And I know that when you are a football player, one defeat can create sometimes a little bit of losing of the confidence in some of the things or in some of the behavior that you can do in the pitch. And in that moment, for me, the most important thing is compete. It's just be focused in compete. When the things will come with the pass of the time, with the pass of the minutes, with the pass of the goals, with the pass of the good results, then little by little we need to recover a positive confidence in ourselves. And only you can recover this level of confidence competing well, and little by little the team will find the way to perform even better.
So the base level is to get the competition right, the competing right, and then you believe the confidence will come for the performances to improve as well.
Any double doubt, but not only for us, I think for every team.
How do you create more chances, Carlos? You didn't have a shot on target the other night, so how do you compensate for that and improve that moving forwards?
I think without any finish on target, we don't score. It's true that for me, the only finish that we did was with Joskoro. Joskoroma put the ball out, but Sorba Thomas put the ball on the post. So I was watching the chance, but it's true that the team didn't create enough chances. How you can create more chances is like attacking better. Simple. Attacking better, the attacking can be starting from the keeper, or the attacking can be after one recovery of the ball. Every time for me, our target when we have the ball, or we have an opportunity to create one chance. In football, no every time that you have the ball, you create a chance, but the target that we have and we want is to see chances every time that we have the ball. But not always we are going to be able to do. So for me, we are going to be, if we attack better, I don't have any doubt that the team will create more chances.
So does that again come down to confidence, players being able to take maybe more risks on the ball, having confidence to try and play that pass that they might not play if they're not full of confidence that could lead to a goal scoring opportunity?
Yes, this and after was win the last challenge when you are with the opponents, like make a good movement in the back of the defenders, make a good pass in the back of the defenders, win the relation with the attacker with the defender that you have in the 1v1 and get the cross that maybe in some moment you get the cross, in some moment no. Depend about the opposition. Sometimes they balance more the 1v1 situation, or they unbalance more and you can be in front of the opponent. So there are many, for me, things that can allow the team to create chances or to reduce the number of chances. But it's true that we didn't create enough and we want to create more.
How do you get your striker involved more? Danny Ward didn't have a huge amount of touches the other night or in the game against Fulham either. And I understand that he was maybe not feeling his best on Tuesday night. But how do you get your main striker involved more in the game?
I think they are involved. The key is, like, for me, attack is part of the responsibility of the team. If the ball doesn't go with advantage in the highest space of the pitch, it's going to be more difficult for the strikers to find clear chances in the box. Is sometimes you need to play long and the strikers are not winning the challenges that they are going to have against the defender, because in some moments you want to play short and in some moments you need to play long. And as soon as we play long, we are going to have one chance with the opponent. If you win this duel, if you win this challenge, maybe you are going to have more options to win the second ball and to attack. If you don't win the challenge, is different. For example, you analyze the action of the goal, was a long ball that Lees was playing to the last line, and Campbell, Koroma was competing for that ball, and Campbell won the second ball and passed to Koroma, and Koroma gave the pass to Holmes, that he was able, even if he wasn't a striker, he was able to attack the last line of the team, and in that moment he was the more long player of the team. So for me, there are many things that can help can help to the strikers to participate, but more than to participate, to receive balls inside to the box. That for me is the most important thing for one striker.
And defensively, he kept a clean sheet, which will obviously be a huge positive. But in particular, Tom Lee's coming into the side very late because of the issue with Matty Pearson. How pleased were you with the way that he very quickly adapted to what you wanted to see from Tom Lee's?
I think it's difficult to evaluate the performance of Lee's without evaluate the circumstances that arrive, that make that, or in the circumstances how Lee's arrived to the game. So for me, first of all, he didn't play any single minute even with the B team. The idea was to play yesterday in the game of the B team, to start to win minutes, to start to win relation with teammates, to start to develop some ideas that we were training. But he need to put after in the pitch. From here, right here, he has two parts of work. One is the physical, another is the technical, tactical part too. If we only are going to work with the team to prepare the days of preparation of the game, the work that he's doing is not enough. So he need extra compensation from the physical point of view, because he didn't do the precision and because he was one player that finished the last year being an injury, and he was during long period of time without competing any single game. So in the time that he was working here, we had to manage the number of technical tactical trainings, knowing that every time we are playing we don't have the same impact of the tactical or the technical part, because we need to, more than training, prepare the next games. And he need to compensate with physical work too. So for me, Lees arrived to the game without enough collective working with the team. But he was showing that because he was very professional and his level of self-demanding is high, his level of professionalism to be ready during his injury, to be ready to find the new club, because at that moment he didn't have club. When he had the injury, he was recovering by himself, made him that he could compete and he could play the minute that he was playing the other day in a good performance.
He said to us after the game that it's been a breath of fresh air being at Huddersfield Town compared to his time at Sheffield Wednesday. That must really please you to hear that a player coming in from another club that settles in very quickly and instantly is enjoying his time at the football club.
I think always positive when the players feel that in the club that they are having moments of the things that they want. For me, always this is important. I think Huddersfield as a club, I enjoy about many things that Huddersfield as a club has from my right here. There are many things in the back of this club, like the important to the nutritionist, the important to the physical coaches department, the important to the medical staff, many things that allow me to develop better my work and allow the player to integrate in one dynamic of work that we try to make in the highest level that we can.
And finally from me then, Sheffield United next up. They've struggled, haven't they, to adapt to life back in the Championship. What do you make to how they've done so far and what sort of challenge they pose at the weekend?
I think it's normal. I think, like we say, COVID is going to have an impact in every team. For me, we were suffering some consequences of the COVID, not in terms of the results, in terms just to don't have the players. And for me, Sheffield was suffering the consequences of the COVID in the pre-season because they were changing the coach, and during, I don't know, it was 10 days or something like that, they have to cancel everything. So I know that when you analyze the opponent, the level of the players is a high level of opponent. And I don't have any doubt that this team, with the pass of the games, they are going to improve. But now we are going to try to make delay this on time, because what we are going to be is just to focus in ourselves to go to that game and trying to compete.
Thank you, Carlos. All the best.
Okay.
Thanks, Johnny. Stephen, we'll come to you, please.
Hi, Carlos. How's it going?
Good. Thank you.
Good stuff. Good. On the injury front, how are Rolando Aarons, Pippa and Aaron Rowe?
From the injury point of view, Pippa continues the same. He had the injection, and we are going to see today. He's going to work with the medical department to see how he is. If everything progresses well today and everything progresses well tomorrow, he can be working with the team on Sunday. From Sunday to work with the teammates. Pippa is a special. He has had a special period of time because he didn't do a normal pre-season. He wasn't ready to train regularly with the team. He was training one day, and the next day he was feeling the pain and he need to stop. So I know that we are going to need a little bit more of time to prepare Pippa if everything works well after the second injection. Something that I think in the next 2 days we will know something better. Rolando Aarons, the problem was the knee. He didn't do pre-season either, but it's true that he was playing some minutes in the last game with the B team. So it allowed him to be in front of Pippa in terms of the recovery to can be available player with the team. And the other player, you asked me for, Aaron Rowe, still is not working with the team, still is working now, start to work in the pitch with the medical staff. So he's going to be, for me, the latest player to be ready to train with the team.
Okay. Janino Bakuna has left the club as well. How do you reflect on his time at the club?
I could evaluate more than the year that he was working with me, but for me, it's not my work. I only can evaluate the year that he was working with me. It's clear that he was showing that he is a robust player because the number of minutes that he was playing with us the last years proved this. In a tough season, and he was playing many minutes, so it means that the time that he was working with me, he was important player, because one player with important minutes means that he was important player. But like I said from my right here this pre-season, the idea of the player and the idea of the club was to be looking for one solution that allow or make happy both parts, and that's why I didn't integrate him this year. So for me, it's not a losing of one player during this year, because I knew before. That's why I didn't involve him in the pre-season, that I didn't have Bakuna during this year with the squad.
Okay. Do you expect him to go on and do well with Rangers?
I hope. I always hope the best for the player that I was working. Sorry, can you hear me?
I can. Sorry, I'm on a bit of a lag.
Yes. I tell you that I hope the best for every player that have been working for Huddersfield Town Club, and I always hope the best for the player that were working with me, especially when one player show you a good level of dynamic of work with you and giving the best that they can give.
Yeah. Does his sale allow you to go and reinvest in new players?
I don't think so. I think the situation doesn't change a lot, because we need to continue to be focused in the market. Knowing that Coroma was one option of play that like I told you at the beginning, will move. Vacuna was it?
Corona.
No, Corona, no. Vacuna. Corona is with us, with the team, no worries. So we knew from the beginning that he is not going to be able, he won't be with the team. And we knew this, and we continue watching the market in the same way, be watching how we can improve and strengthen the team.
Yeah. I mean, is it the case then that, I know you said after the club said after 5 signings that they might not be able to do any more, and then they managed to do another 3. So has that money already effectively been spent?
No, we continue watching where is the point that we have to improve the team, and we continue analyzing what are the options that we have in the market. So between these 2 teams, we need to make the balance and to make the best decision to improve the level of the squad always.
Okay. And Daniel Sinani was in action for the B team, scored a brilliant goal. Hoping to see that in the first team.
With Sinani, it's a little bit similar case, like I told you, with some player that didn't do the precision in a normal conditions because he had some time in Norwich, but without training regularly with the first team, yeah, with one separate coach. So he didn't do a collective precision. And with us, from he arrived, he was working with the team very fast. He had some minutes against, not many minutes, but some minutes against Sheffield. But after this, we lost him to be in front of Fulham. He had just a few minutes against Derby County because everything go too fast, and he arrived to a moment where the team was doing the precision before, and he didn't have the physical levels yet to come play in the team. So I think the minutes that he was playing yesterday or 2 days ago, with the B team were very positive minutes because allow him to continue growing, allow him to continue develop his possibilities, but at the same time to show that he's a player that has some things that make him different.
Yeah, you need a bit of that in the midfield, don't you? Someone who's a bit more creative.
I think that's why the reason we bring this type of player to the club, knowing that he's a winger who can play inside and link, help the team to link and to arrive to offensive half, or he's a number 10 who can play more as a specific number 10. And he's a player that playing as a winger or play as a number 10 need to be one player that need to arrive to the box and make finishing because it's something that he can do really well.
Would you like to add another creative midfielder to your squad if you can?
It's one of the options that always we are watching. We need to be watching what are the points that we should increase and strengthen the team. Then for me, right now the team has an unbelievable line of defenders because in every position for me of the line of 4, we have 2 players that are very good alternative. For me, the improvement in defense of the line of 4 of the team this year was unbelievable because we have 2 players that for me, all of them can play without make the team feel high level of differences. In the midfielder, having Hoggy and Vallejo, we have 2 options to the midfielders. And then that's why for me, the back line now of the team is fit and is ready is fixed and is ready for me to compete. Yes, unfortunately, we didn't have to follow and Ruffles, 2 players that are taking the same position in the pitch. But now with the possibility of Toffolo, we are one option more now to can play with him as a left back. Then the other part of the team for me, of course, is where we are going to see which option we have to can add on our players.
Okay. And how important was that win on Tuesday evening, psychologically and in every way, really?
Always is very important to win the games, and always is very important to have the first winning of the season. We couldn't get the first winning of the season against Derby County. For me, we did good things to achieve it, but we couldn't do. Against Fulham was one game that didn't work in the way that we wanted to work, and it was a bad performance and very bad result. Then it was important for me to show a good level of reaction the other day against Preston, and for me the team showed this reaction, making a lot of effort to achieve these 3 points. But it's not going to be more important or less important than the next game. Like every game for us is going to be key. Every game for us, we want to perform well in trying to get the 3 points, knowing that sometimes it's going to be more difficult. Sometimes you are going to, the previous results can have an influence in the performance that you show the next one. That's why for me the most important of the day was to show a reaction in terms of to do the things that always you can ask for every player that is compete. After, there are things that sometimes are going to work better, like the quality of the pass, like the movement, like the fluently or the harmony that one team can find, or sometimes it doesn't find. And sometimes you find this level of harmony without training, just with the selection and just with the players, just with the day, just because the opponent, the shape, everything goes well to find the level of harmony. And sometimes you don't find the level of harmony, but when you don't find the level of fluently in the game, you need to show a high level of competitive mentality. That for me was what the team showed the other day.
Are you looking to add any aspects to the game, any new things to the game tomorrow?
We need to manage as a team. For me, the growing is related with manage better the game situation, manage better throw-ins, manage in attack, manage better throw-ins in defense, manage better some playing out, manage better some long balls and second balls, manage better moment of pressing, manage better moment of defensive in our pitch. So for me, at the end, the game is full of situations, game situation, and the growth of one team is to manage better these type of situations.
Is there? We've seen you playing sort of 3-5-2. We've seen you play 4-2-3-1. Would you prefer to go back to the 4-3-3 that we saw a lot last season?
I think everything is relative, because the most important thing for me is to see how are your team, how are your players, and don't limitate your players with your formation. That's why for me always the players are in front of any tactical detail of any coach, is my point of view. But at the same time, we have one direction and one style. For me, more than the formation is our ideas. Our ideas is to be solid in defense. Our idea is to be aggressive in defense and to have a good balance of these two things. Our ideas is that we want to be a brave team that wants to dominate the game and wants to attack. Then the best way to do is going to depend about the possibilities, about the availability of players. And for me, the last year we were watching very good games. For example, I can tell you, for me, one of the best games of the last year was maybe against Swansea at home, or maybe one of the best games of the second half. I don't know if you agree or not, but for me, the team was showing a good performance, for example, against Swansea, and we were playing in that moment with line of three. Or another, we can analyze another good moments of the team, because, for example, the second half, I remember against Bristol, playing away, for me, the team saw a very good dynamic of attack, playing with 4 in the back. So more than told you to play with 3 or to play with 4, is that we have one idea, one identity. We want to show character in our players. We want to be aggressive in some moments. We want to be very solid team, and we want to be one team brave. How we are going to do is going to depend about the availability of the players. And sometimes the 3-5-2 will help you to develop these ideas more than the 4-3-3, because the player you have or because how the opponent defends. So for me, if I limitate the team, just give one structure and don't move from there, I am limiting my players to can show these ideas that for me are part of our mentality and style as a club.
Yeah, great. Cool. And finally, I'm sorry, I know you're probably sick of being asked about it, but Lewis O'Brien, any change in his situation at all?
No, Lewis O'Brien continue be one of our players, and I continue being very focused to working with him and to make him that be helping the team like he was doing the other day.
Yeah, and just finally as well, Lewis is, and several other players, the players that have been out with COVID, might take them a little bit of time to get back to their best, mightn't it? I think people might not realize how the effect it can have.
I totally agree with you, because sometimes we are watching the player, well, we need to know what the players were doing and what were the conditions where the players arrived to one game. It's clear that when COVID affect to the body of the players, the consequence can be totally different in different type of players. For some players, I'm not going to recover his levels after many weeks or many months. Some consequence of COVID affect to the bodies of the players and change some structure and some behaviors of the body, and they are not able to come back to his normal possibilities until some time. But for some players, no, and that's why some players doesn't have any type of symptoms, and faster they recover the normal level. We hope that any of our players feel high level of consequence, but for example, I can tell you that Ruffles had COVID after or close to very in similar time with O'Brien. O'Brien is competing now with the team, and Ruffles didn't work with the team yet. That's why the consequence of COVID are totally different. And it's true that the player during 10 days cannot do any type of training. So there are two things. First of all, the losing of the physical values because you have to stop during 10 days. And second thing, the options or the possibilities that COVID affect to your body and increase or decrease, usually more decrease, your normal values.
That's all. So for me, good luck tomorrow, Carlos.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Stephen. David, I'm going to assume we don't need to come to you as a result of Steve being on the call. Just a quick word before we go to Stuart Rayner. We just had the Scotland under-21 squad, and Scott High's got his first call up just while we're on the call. So that's good news. But,
fantastic.
Yeah, Stu, we'll come to you, mate, if that's okay.
Excellent. Well, I'll start with that then. I mean, you must be very pleased for Scott, and he seems to be developing very well for you as a player right now.
He had the first call.
It's Scotland under-21s.
Very good.
National team.
It's always positive to have our players, any player in the national team, because it means that they are making good work in the club, and this is just our full of focus and our full of attention.
And I guess it's an important part of what the club's trying to do now in terms of developing players, that they make these progressions from their academy, from the B team level, isn't it?
Yes, like I told you, we didn't change the philosophy of the club this year, even with the loan of some young players, because we are watching that now. Sorbatoma is a young player, for example, without enough experience in the championship, or League 2 or League 1. So he arrived directly from another level, and now being a young player from this level, we are watching him in the first 11 in the 3 games that we have played. Scott High, if we take the Sheffield Wednesday game, that was official cup game, he was in 3 of the 4 games in the first 11 of the team, and he was playing the second half, all the second half against Fulham. Or one player like Cole, for example, without playing the championship, with 18 years old, is playing the team too. And Schofield was playing 2 games of the 4 official games, Ryan Schofield. So, for example, the idea, the mentality of this club continue to be develop young players, because we know how important they are for our structure and for our club, for our present and for our future too.
And can I just ask as well about Isaac Mbenza? He's obviously been in a similar situation to Juninho Bacuna, hasn't he?
Yes.
Do you think he'll be moving on? Are there signs that he will move on in this transfer window?
That's why we are not working with him, because we understand that this is what the player wanted to have, or the option from the interest from the player and from the club was to find the move of the player. Then we are going to see what is going to happen, because we know that, like I say, with Abo Bacuna, Mbenza was an important player for us the last year, especially the first part of the last year. And we need to understand that the interest of some clubs and the interest of the players and the interest of the club, then still we have 2 weeks where he want to continue in the same way that he was working, and we'll see what happens at the end of the market.
Fair enough. And I mean, obviously you had this situation with Karlan Grant as well. If something wasn't to happen, will it be quite a long process to sort of reintegrate him in terms of fitness and not so much tactical, but the fitness side to be an option for you?
Every player that he has a contract with us is working with the club. In any moment, the one thing is to don't be working with the team, because I don't understand any type of meaning to make the player feel part of one team where I don't want that the team is going to be. And I cannot create any type of expectation with the teammates, feeling that maybe have one player to compete the season, or maybe they don't have the player. I like that our players feel which teammates are going to be ready to fight with them, and which teammates no. But as a club, we always need to be working with the players that are under contract. From the beginning, Isaac Mbenza is working with our physical staff, with some of our coaches, making technical trainings and making physical trainings. But the tactical part is not making the tactical part with the group, because I don't understand that he has to do this part with the group. Same situation of Bacuna. Bacuna is fit because he was working with the physical coaches. Of course, the fit is never the same, because it's not to play football and not to increase the relation with the teammates. He doesn't have this tactical part or social tactical part, but he has the fitness part, because always the club we put one physical coach and some coaches to be working with them and to continue helping them to be ready as soon as they make the movement, or as soon as something changes in his situation.
And in 2021, Carlos, you don't seem to have very much luck at all with regards to injuries, to illness. Obviously, Matty Pearson and Danny Ward's problems have been very strange unusual problems to have. Is there much you can do other than just hope for better luck?
I think these things for me happen in football, and the only thing that we need to can do is to adapt, to react, and to be showing of course, what we can do to improve and what we can do to solve the situation. So from the training point of view, this year, for example, we know that some of the players, we manage better the minutes in the pitch, because for me, they can know some of the group of players, depending on the age or the physical condition of the previous injuries. We need to control very well how many consecutive days in a row they can be in the pitch. And we always try to manage these type of circumstances, but sometimes the circumstances appear because appear. So for example, the situation with Pipa was one injury that he was having after he went, for example, with Spain with the national team, and the accumulation of the games made him suffer this in his body. The situation of Aaron Rowe is not normal in football, and he has one problem in the, you call this, in the foot, in the toe, of the foot. Then he cannot be available. Then it's like sometimes you can do things, sometimes you cannot do things, because the player arrives, because his body reacts in that way in one moment of the season. So the only thing that we can do is, for me, adapt, study well, especially for me the muscle injuries, because are the injuries that are part of football, but at the same time the injuries that we can work, trying to create one strong body for the player and try to controlling well the physical impact of the trainings plus the games. Fortunately, like right now, so far, we didn't have any muscle problem in all the pre-season from the beginning of the season, and I touch wood because it's something that is not easy. But at the same time, sometimes if you protect a lot of the players, you lose a little bit the part of the performance. If you are just to focus in the performance, you lose a little bit the part of the healthy. So this balance is a heavy balance in the football world, but we try always to manage in the best way that we can.
And it seems like Lee Nichols was particularly unfortunate with the timing of his illness. Had that great penalty shootout. You told us that Hillsborough he was going to be the goalkeeper on the Saturday, and then he got ill. Is it more disruptive, more problematic when you have to change goalkeeper as you're trying to create a new defensive setup?
I think always is problem to lose players. For me, being honest, like to have one losing of one player is a problem, but it's a problem that we need to be able to manage. Every time that we have two players in a similar conditions in each position, this is going to be the better for us, because if you have two players that give you exactly the similar things in the pitch, then you are going to suffer less the consequence of any losing of each player. That's why we need to continue improving our players in the highest level, and we need to continue working along with them to have always two players who can play. And if you select one or you select the other ones, the difference between some of them are not going to have impact in the team.
But for him to come back and keep a clean sheet on Tuesday, I guess important for his confidence and just for the team's confidence.
Yeah, like I say, sometimes for the keepers, the clean sheet is important, for the strikers, score goals are important. So there are things that are related with the position, of course, but for the team, it's very important to play one game with a clean sheet.
Yeah, and just on Sheffield United, they're obviously a team still finding an identity. They're playing different formations. When a team's in that fluid situation, does that make it more difficult to analyze and prepare to face them?
I think at the end in football, you have choice. You play with line of 3 or you play with line of 4 in the back. The majority part of the minutes, they are playing with line of 4 in the back. I know Jokanovic he was here in England training with Fulham, and he was showing that his normal shape is the 4-2-1-3. And for me, he has players to do this in Sheffield. But in the other day, in the cup game, in the first half of the cup game, and in the last minutes of the other day, they were playing with line of 3. But I know that Sheffield United is a club with history to play with line of 3 too, and this is how they promote to the Premier League. They were playing with 3-5-2. So, and like they promoted, and after they were 2 years playing with line of 3, and the previous year they promoted the previous year from League One. So it's a team that, if you analyze from they were in League One playing with three central backs, 2 years in Championship with 3 central backs, 2 years in Premier League with 2 central backs, is going to be a little bit of change. So like for me, the normal shape of Jokanovic is play more with 4 and be one team that he wants that the team be protagonist and have the ball, and the club have the past of the line of 3. But I think they have players to can make both things, and it's normal that they are going to need some time to adapt to his level, because everything goes very fast in football, and when you are new in the club and you don't make a pre-season, you are going to need more time to work and to develop ideas.
Can I just ask you about Dennis Law, about the sad news that he has dementia? Your reaction to that, and just do you feel football as a game needs to do more to investigate the consequences of heading the ball and deal with that and support the players who are suffering at the moment?
First of all, to support, of course, 100%. I think one player like him, that he was a legend in Huddersfield Town and after in the British football too. But first of all, in Huddersfield Town, make us always to have this pain with every player, that because, like always, from my area here, once terrier, you always terrier, no? So it's true that every time one player is this terrier, and especially the player that have been a legend for the club, always the club have a pain, and we always send all the support. More than me, is just the thing of the club. And after what you told me as a specific, I don't know, sometimes it's difficult to find the aspects that could have the consequence of these type of situations. But of course, in football, we need always to invest. What is the consequence of the different situation? It can be the headaches in some age when you are too young to head a lot of the ball or things like this. And always the football have to be one word that always trying to improve and always try to improve the conditions that we give to and offer to the players to reduce the negative impact in any situation.
Thank you very much, Carlos. Thank you.
Stuart, thank you. I'm just aware of the time, guys. We've got Lee Nichols here as well. Alfie, Nathan and David, have you got anything pressing to add, or can we move on to Lee?
No, nothing to add from me.
Yeah.
Nothing to add from me, thank you either.
Thanks, Nathan.
Can I just ask one question of Carlos, just on Lee Nichols, Carlos? But what have you made of him? How has he done so far since he's been at the club?
Who?
Lee Nichols.
Lee Nichols.
Fantastic for me. Fantastic.
Assessment.
For me, fantastic. He didn't have the experience to play in the Championship. The other day, he was the first game that he was playing in the Championship.
Well, since 2015.
From in the last year.
Games,
Yes. So it was not his debut in the Championship, but is from the long time ago. He's the first game that he was playing in the Championship, and so that he has the able to be in the league. And for me, it was, being honest, it was the work of the scouting department, especially of our goalkeeper coach, Paul Clemens, to select one keeper that he was watching that even without playing the last year in the Championship was ready to play in that level.
Great. Thank you.